Hello, let me start by asking again because it's imperative. How are you? And I want to believe that the answer is fine because from this divide, we're all fine and we're very concerned about our health, our state of mind, our state of the body generally. And when I speak body, we're going to talk about certain parts of the body today. The show is Conversation, and my name is Elizabeth. I have with me in the house a very popular face, not just on this program, but a friend of NTA, Professor Dr. Ibekwe. You were first a doctor before, Professor. For me, you're still a doctor.
Yes, you're very correct.
Doc, I must say thank you and congratulations because in a while ago you had to battle with COVID-19 and God help you came alive. And some people who still do not believe that COVID is real, would you want to maybe just briefly share the experience with them?
Well, and thank you for having me, Lizzie. Telling this story over and over I think, is worth it if it could help the doubting Thomases across the country and across the globe to believe that COVID-19 is real. It's an intelligent person will not wait to make mistakes before struggling to correct it. Intelligent people learn from other people's mistakes. So many people have died of COVID. So many are very sick and critically sick. And so many are dying. So why would you wait to be one of the victims before you believe? Yeah, as you rightly said, I was one of the, and I'm still one of the vanguards, when you talk about enlightenment program about COVID in the country, right from February 27th last year till date. We've been on top notch talking about this enlightened populace. But first week of December, I took ill. And at the end of the day, to cut the long story short, it turned out to be COVID-19 that I contracted. Being an ENT surgeon, we work in the ear, the nose, and the throat. And we know that the nose and the throat are like the conduit and the pathway for COVID-19. So you wouldn't even know when you picked it up. But while it was quite significant here was that I passed through the 4 different stages of COVID. I had mild disease, I had moderate, I had severe, and eventually went into critical care, which is the last stage.
Critical care, where you needed to use the ventilators and all that. Wow.
So I had COVID pneumonia, which is a complication, and also eventually developed adrenal gland failure, all from COVID-19. So, and it costs a lot to treat this, especially when it's the severe type. Because even the drug that is used in treating that is not part of the routine therapy that government gives. Remdesivir, for instance, is very expensive. So, 1, this disease is very expensive to treat. 2, the stress is not worth anybody allowing himself to be subjected to. 3, you have to protect your beloved ones, because you can imagine one person suffering from this, the huge, humongous stress, not to talk of exposing your loved ones. And the risk of dying in the process is also very high. So wise people will not allow themselves to slip into this before they believe that COVID-19 is real.
It's quite a touchy story, and I want to believe that those who have listened to you, that he's just trying to cut this whole story as short as possible, because the truth is, I tried to get doctor from December all through January. It wasn't possible because he was, for me, he went to the other realm and he came back. And he earlier told you that he is an ENT surgeon, a professor in ear, nose, and throat. And you can see the dummy right here. That means we're going to be talking a whole lot about the ear, because today is 3/3. 3/3 means 3rd of March, and it's celebrated yearly as the World Hearing Day. Today has a special theme, but let's look at this package together, Dairo put together for us. When we come back, we get into the nitty-gritty of the care for the ear.
Is made of different parts. Irrespective of its size and location, they all must harmoniously play their roles in order to create the balance the body needs to function as one entity. The ear is one of the body parts. Little and assumingly inconsequential as it may be, it is still as important as every other body part. Little wonder the World Health Organization mapped out a special day to sing home the importance of these body parts. World Hearing Day is an annual event held every 3rd of March by the Office of the Prevention of Blindness and Deafness of the World Health Organization to raise awareness, share information, and promote actions towards the prevention of hearing loss and improved hearing care. It was started by the World Health Organization in 2007. Before 2016, it was originally known as International Ear Care Day. The theme for the 2021 World Hearing Day campaign is Hearing Care for All. World Hearing Day is the ideal opportunity to spread information, raise the profile of the ear and hearing care in people's mind. How often do you pay attention to your ear and hearing?
Nothing beats, any other thing than to wake up, your eyes are open, you get to appreciate nature, and then if you're lucky to have the birds, chirping around where you are, nothing beats that sound. I enjoy it. The sound of the early morning breeze, and when I'm in the countryside, the sound of, chirping birds, people greeting and stuff like that. And sometimes, suddenly we lose the ability to get to appreciate these things. A lot of times, maybe due to our own carelessness. Doctor, what do you think? Because I don't know how maybe you're grown, you're not even 60 or 70 years old, and then suddenly it cuts down. What usually would cause that?
Yeah, you're really very right. We know that hearing is one of those special senses, that means a lot to human. When you talk of hearing, you talk of speech, the sense of touch, the sense of sight. And when all these things are lost, the human being is like a vegetable. And interestingly, even the hearing is connected to speech. So
hearing is connected to speech.
Yeah, they
okay.
go side by side.
Okay.
So, but you ask a very critical question, how this could get lost. It could be congenital, it could be acquired. Congenital means some people could be born with this, that way. From day one, they won't be able to hear anything. Some people, if it is genetic, it may manifest late. It runs in the system, but at a certain age, that's when that gene will start manifesting and they'll lose their sense of hearing. Others, the acquired ones, just as you rightly described, somebody who was hitherto okay, hears very well, but probably due to exposure, lifestyles, and things within our environment, the person can just suddenly lose his or her hearing, So some of them may be due to our own carelessness, not taking care of the ear very well.
Okay.
Others, you may not be your own fault, because even as one is getting older, it's known that at a certain age, close to 60, we'll start talking of it's known as presbyocusis, which is hearing loss from aging. Just as when people are getting older, you realize they won't be able to see very well again. Very elderly people may even go blind. It's not sickness. So the same is also predictable for the ear. As we get older, the organ weakens.
So generally, the organ starts shutting down gradually?
Yes, with age,
Okay.
But the very important thing here, which is what the World Health Organization and the entire world is also talking about today, is those things we should be able to do, to prevent prematurely shutting down our ear or having the ear get any problem of any sort. That's why they're talking of hearing care for all. That we have to screen, we have to rehabilitate, and at the same time communicate, because these three things, they all go together.
Screening, rehabilitation,
communication.
Okay.
So that screening is, we have to be our neighbor's keeper. Even from this conversation that is going on, you may be able to realize that, oh, it appears I am not hearing well. If I'm also attentive, I should be able to pick that, oh, I'm not hearing well. When it is obvious that I keep on asking you to pardon, repeat,
sometimes some people make you feel like you're not talking well.
Yeah.
In actual sense, they're actually not hearing well.
They're the one that have the problem.
Okay.
So a conversation that is supposed to be flowing very well, when you realize that it's getting, hitches here and there, is like a red flag. It's a red flag. And if the person is not aware, the person should be, in a very gentle and respectful way, told that maybe you may be having some problem with your ear. And everybody is expected, each and every one of us, to screen our ear twice in a year. Every 6 months, you go for a check, where your ENT surgeons and your audiologists will check your level of hearing. Because if it is detected early, that means I will have a good case. I will be able to take care of it. Sometimes things as minor as wax can lead to this hearing loss, which is a natural phenomenon that the ear
wax
generates.
Is the one that come out from the ear, right?
Very good. People use cotton buds to pull out, which is wrong, which is a very wrong practice. So that wax, the ear generates that to protect our ear. It's oil, it has some, antibiotics property within it.
Oh, really?
That has the ability to kill germs that want to enter into our ears and cause problem. It lubricates the canal, the ear, and also filters the air that enters our ear. Oil is magnetic. So it filters this dust and particles and hold them down. Which is why when you bring it out eventually, or it falls on its own, like you always advise us to do, it's brownish because it would have trapped a lot of dust and all that. And the natural color also. Okay, we're going to talk about lifestyle and all of that, but I want you to, we mentioned one of the things to be paid attention to today as the World Hearing Day is screening. Yeah. Now, how do I know as a mother, my child is just probably 6 months, my child is 3 months, my child is 1 year, and usually we do not really pay much attention if we're talking to them and they're not listening. How do I know my child needs to be screened in the ear? Okay, that's another excellent question. As a matter of fact, every newborn child is supposed to be screened before discharged home. Really? Standard practice. The one I know they do is they give birth to a child, they spank the child until the child cries. Yeah, that one is different. That one is because a child needs to cry immediately after delivery so that the lungs will expand. Oh, really? And life will really go into the child. So that's why you do that one. But within the first week of delivery, before a child is sent home, the child is supposed to be screened. We use what we call acoustic emission. Simple machine is not harmful, it's not painful, it costs nothing. And it doesn't take time. As a matter of 10-15 minutes, it's done. So you will get the first instant if this child's ear is okay or not. Because as we said, hearing loss is a silent handicap. Because somebody who is now hearing will pass here and look normal, beautiful, handsome. Okay, you wouldn't know until when you go into deep conversation and start probing. Unlike somebody who has deformity in any part of the body, once the person is passing, you see. You will know. But this one is a hidden handicap, and that's why we advise that we start early. And we are pleading that government should make it a policy because it has already been signed into law in this country in 2008. The government signed it into law that hearing screening for newborn is compulsory. So why are we not doing it? That is the big question, So the will is very important here. I'm aware that few hospitals are doing this, but not all.
If I, as a mother, knowing what you're just telling me, that it's actually a law that my child be screened, if I give birth, should I insist? I know there are a lot of women who are listening to us. Should I insist that my child's ear, should be screened and before results given to me?
Absolutely, I subscribe to that.
Okay.
So that we sit up to our responsibilities. You have to insist that it should be done. And it should be done. Because as I said, it takes nothing to do that. But it's going to, protect the child from untoward effects. It saves a lot, that simple act. Because you detect that early, then treatment and other rehabilitative processes can even start. And we get results when we start early. Because the first year in life is very critical. Okay? We call it the golden era, the golden time of cognitive function acquisition. Because, as I said, hearing coordinates with speech and brain. And it's within that time that whatever thing a child picks up or hears is what the child programs within. And is what is programmed that the child is able to reproduce. And all these are like interconnected network.
Okay.
So within that, beyond that first year, you start talking of plasticity. It becomes very difficult now to be able to get an excellent result, as we would have if we were able to pick the loss early.
All right. Halima just joined us.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
I
know. It happens, and the doctor was just explaining. But I wanted to find out from you before I even asked him, when you gave birth to your any of your children, did you suspect at any point that the ear might have an issue or anything? Was there any kind of thing, anything like that in your mind? Because I didn't have it. I'm just hearing it.
I did.
You didn't?
I did. When I was thinking about this, I actually remembered an incident. I think it was my first daughter. So she was bringing out these poles and stuff like that from the air. I was really scared. And I didn't know what to do. So funny enough, why I always laugh when I remember the incident is the fact that, these elderly women came to me and said, you can just put the breast milk.
Wow.
Yes. I was so scared. I said, breast milk, what will it do? No, seriously. So when you talked about the topic, that was the first thing that came to my mind. That you could put the breast milk, I was like...
In the ear?
Yes. I said, what will it do? I was really so scared. So later on somebody said, we went to the clinic. They gave us this drug, but it wasn't going. So I had to take her to the Maiduguri, that's the teaching hospital. Then I was in Maiduguri. And they gave me an oral drug, surprisingly. It was the oral drug that cleared it. So I was like wondering if I had added to the problem.
Yeah.
You understand? By putting, because it was...
Did you actually put the breast milk?
My God, I was scared. No, I didn't.
Doc, what do you have to say about that? Well, because the truth is, a lot of us are told that if something gets into your eye, they'll tell you to drop breast milk.
I'm telling you. A lot of ignorance and a lot of wrong practices can worsen situations. So, please don't indulge in any of this because you can make a fairly good case a very bad one at the end of the day. Even some people that have what Halima has described, I have heard of others who advise that they should put hot oil inside the ear. So what are you trying to achieve? You will cause more damage, you will cause more injury, even the fragile organs within the ear. You put something as hot as that, that is increasing the trouble, So the ideal thing is these very sensitive organs, once you develop any problem there, you even realize that not every doctor that will want to treat you. Some doctors will say, please, just go to an ENT doctor. That's their area. Because it's very, very sensitive, So you avoid water entering this ear. These are some of the golden rules. Water entering the ear worsens any situation. You don't insert anything into the ear, including cotton bud. Cotton bud is not meant for the ear. It's meant for the nose, for removing cross in the nose. And we have preached this over and over again. In advanced countries, you pick a box of this cotton bud. You must see written, not for the ear. Okay, we have canvassed this over and over. We've taken this even to Nigerian custom, and people that are concerned, they promised us that they will ensure that any of this being brought in must be written, not for the ear, so that people will get to know.
Cotton
But
bud,
today
I
people
listen
think
to that.
it's something fashionable, that if you don't clean your ear, you're not a clean person. Whereas they are the one doing the wrong thing.
So how am I supposed to clean my ear?
The ear cleans itself.
How?
Yeah, because within the canal, that's where we insert this cotton bud wrongly. You have some tiny hairs there, which moves non-stop, just like the wipe of a car glass. That's how it moves. Lower animals like amoeba and all those, if you remember lower biology, those hairs that they have that move, that's the type of thing we have there. It moves. So when this oil, which I told you has some antibiotic property, is produced, which is supposed to protect our ear, those tiny hairs moving, they spread it across the ear canal, so that they will perform their function of filtering the air that's going in, of also ensuring that no microorganism that could cause problem goes into our ear. And during that wiping process, they are pushing out the oil from inside outside gradually. So when the function is fully done and you are sleeping, it will drop off. New one will be produced. That's how a normal ear should function.
So when I'm sleeping, it goes
drops off, yes. And every 6 months, as we said, you go and check your ear. Because there are still very few people in the society that their ears produce more of this oil than the system can release at a time. So over time, you have some accumulation. That's why some people will have some wax impaction. But you just go there, your ENT surgeon or your doctor will just quietly pull it out, remove it in a non-harmful manner, you know. So these are some of the things that we should know. Then this use of the one we call earpiece, you know, the one that very young people use, tiny, you know. I hope that's not what Lizzie is wearing. Amazing, that's it. You know, the earpiece. The earpiece is also problematic because when you do that, it gives a tight fit into the canal, which is here. Okay. It's completely occludes the canal.
Okay, maybe my camera will want to pick on that.
So it completely fits in here. It doesn't allow any exchange of air or gas. No air goes in or comes out.
Okay.
All right. And in the process of that, you're also pushing in this wax that is supposed to be coming out. Okay. Use it to lodge them in. Yeah. And people that use this over and over, layers and layers of that wax will build and become caked up. And some will be as strong as stone, you know, occluding the ear.
When you say occluding, what does it mean in English?
Completely closing of the ear, you know. So, that is one of the commonest causes of even the hearing loss we are talking about today, conductive hearing loss. So when this wax fills that ear completely and seals it up, you won't be able to hear well. Conversation is going on, the person will be shouting or want you to be shouting to be able to pick up such, you know. And beyond that, the problem of noise-induced hearing loss, because when you're using this earpiece, as we said, it closes the canal completely. So none of this sound that is being produced by your system can escape. Everything is pushed in through this tiny canal, and there will be banging on the eardrum, okay? So over time, this can cause injury. The eardrum, it can affect usually the nerve, leading to what we call noise-induced hearing loss. And the problem here is that it has little or no care. It's one of the most difficult type of hearing loss to handle. Wow. If you're lucky, well, it may be amenable with some high-powered hearing aids. You know, but why creating problem for yourself?
So if you every day we see young people, even some adults, they are walking on the road, there is earpiece in their ear.
Hours.
You know, some actually leave it there so that when the phone will ring, they hear. There's a new one I hear people talk about, they say it's an AirPod. You know, so
it's become fashion now.
Yeah.
For me, that's the way I see it. People have turned it into fashion. But I just, not just young people. You see, it cuts across everybody.
Yes, the Bluetooth. There are people who have this Bluetooth hanging in the ear permanently. You know, I tried to do that thing because I thought, like you said, it's fashion, and my ear kept doing like this, was pulling. Does it also have
regarding Bluetooth, the thing is, it has not been proven really, but we have this butterfly running in our stomach that in time to come, some serious problems may come up with that. Let's not forget that we're talking of electric transfers when you're doing Bluetooth. And this thing
bit of ray.
is fitted directly, just lying on your head all the time. Okay? Some people leave it there from beginning of work till close of work. So that in future, it's just as telephone, we know the handset and all those, there have been a speculation around it, that maybe this may lead to cancer in the future. Okay? Some malignancies of a sort because of the magnetic rays has been discharged. So that's the problem there. But regarding hearing loss on its own, they hang it behind the ear. But some of those that also have the other component, which is the earpiece, is just exactly the same thing that we have described.
Okay,
So,
what about the big head can?
Thank you very much.
Okay.
That one is a lot safer. It's not
better.
as smart as the tiny one, but it's a lot safer. The one that people in the studio, like our cameramen, are using, the big ones.
As DJ on the beat.
Yeah, so very, very, a lot safer because it's not occluding the canal completely. Some of those, the sound could just get emitted and lost, rather than everything being channeled into the ear, like the earpiece does. So.
Okay, sorry, somebody is asking questions. I think I better just take it right away. It says, my name is Abuchi Ike Guano from Umahia. How is the ear screwed? Can I do it on my own? What's the effect of using cotton bud to clean the ear? I think you just explained it.
Yeah,
Maybe
we just answered it. Well, truth is that cotton bud is not meant for the ear. So everybody should know that. It's meant for the nose. So by putting it in your ear, you're already taking a wrong step. Not to talk of the consequences. We have talked of you're pushing the wax back. You can overshoot and injure the fragile eardrum. Sometimes when you touch the eardrum, you feel a lot of pain. It's sensitive. So you can lead to puncture of the eardrum. You introduce infections into the ear inadvertently without knowing it, because those cotton buds, they are not sterile. If you take them under the microscope to examine and all those, you realize that some of them have a lot of microorganisms. So in the process of you're trying to clean, you're introducing a lot of infection, you're pushing the wax back, you can cause injury to the canal, and you see that all these risks, they're not worth it.
Wow. Doc, still on World Hearing Day, because we must hear. We women, and this is Ladies' Corner, we like to, take care of our hair, and one of them is, constant washing. We go to the salon and these things are done. A lot of people too like to swim around. Is it okay for us to have plastics on the ear while we wash our hair, or probably do some swimming? What's the best way to manage it?
You just said it all. Remember we said that we should avoid water or liquid entering our ears as much as possible. Okay, so when you're washing the ear and the canal is not protected, and those, what do you call it again? Is it relaxer or something?
Relaxer.
Yeah.
The one we put on our hair.
Thank you, the foams. It trickles into the ear, It's like corrosive, okay? It will first of all burn the ear, burn the canal, the skin within the canal in the ear, that's one. Then two, it gets the ear wet. The ear doesn't like being wet. It wants to be dry all the time. Because you look into the ear, you realize that the ear is very dark. That's why for us ENT surgeons, you see us wearing lamp like hunters to be able to shine light and see. So because of that dark nature of the ear, a lot of organisms inhabit there. Ordinarily, they are not causing any problem. Some of them like fungal spores, which is like dry seeds, that is causing nothing. But once water enters there, it germinates just like pouring water on seeds. So you attract a lot of infections by making your ear wet. The same thing with swimmers. You realize that professional swimmers nowadays, they wear something like a cap that comes now down to their ear and hair. It's for the same reason, to avoid water entering their ears. Because the more water enters their ears, the more you're prone to infection and other problems, will come up in the ear. So as much as possible, let's avoid the relaxer or water trickling into the ear.
Funny enough, I never knew. I always love to shower.
And when you do it, you put water.
Sometimes it happens, you never can tell. Wow.
You know, Doc, you mentioned something again. The elderly will not forgive me, and of course, those of us who are matching, to almost 70 and 80, we need to be this. You said earlier when you started that some things, it's natural for the organs, including the ear, to start shutting down at a certain age.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I know that some people, have these things coming a little bit earlier in life. Some others actually are okay till whenever God calls them to leave Mother Earth. Are there things we can do, or things we can eat, I don't know, lifestyle we can actually adopt to ensure that by the time we get to 70, 80, our ears are still at least as sharp as if we were like 30 or 20?
Yeah, okay. Nature is something that is so wonderful. Some people are bestowed with longevity, reason we don't know, while others, their lifespan is so short. And naturally in life, two flip to every coin. So we know that on average, from age 60 upwards is when it becomes palpable that the hearing is going down. But there are still some people that up to age 80, they will realize that their hearing is very, very bright and significantly okay, compared to their age. All right, while some others, because of a sort of a body clock in their system, their genetic makeup may tend to lose their hearing earlier. But what we're preaching here is don't help this ear to pack up earlier. So all these discussions, things that we've been talking about, protecting the ear even from stuff as simple as water going in, staying away from noisy environment, okay, avoiding inserting things into your ear. These are things that will help protect our ear, and going for a regular check. If you can't do that every 6 months, at least once in a year. During your birthday, make it part of your birthday.
As your birthday gift to yourself.
Yeah. It's a very good gift. Let your ENT surgeon look in and see. So that, they say a stitch in time saves 9. So that once they pick any problem with their ear, you start immediately. There's even some therapy that you can give that will slow that process down when it is noticed. But you can't start just taking any drugs anyhow. So these are the things. Some people that you may not be able to slow down the system and all those, you augment their own system by giving some hearing aids of a sort that will help them still live good quality life, as the case may be. So environmental hazards is very real. And drugs, what we call ototoxicity. Ototoxicity means problem coming up with the ear following drug, poisoning the ear with drugs. Okay?
So there are certain drugs we take
yes, certain
that can
drugs
actually cause that.
Yeah, the ones we call aminoglycosides are one of the most celebrated ones. Popular drugs like gentamicin. You say a lot of people will buy chloramphenicol, gentamicin eardrop and be using. These are ototoxic drugs. They can help your ear pack up early. Okay?
Wow.
Even the diuretics, the one that you give people who are finding it difficult to produce urine, that will help them pass urine quicker. Some of the antihypertensives that have these diuretics are also part of this. So, not to talk of herbs, that's the one that we know is top up there. Because a lot of times, it's not to condemn herbs. After all, a good number of the drugs that we take today come from herbs.
Yeah.
But the problem here is ability to, synthesize or, isolate the particular active ingredient from these millions of components of what you can get out from a herb, including some toxic materials that are within. So when you drink everything, you're not doing yourself good. Then, quantity, as you have said, every drug should have dosage. And it is said that best drugs are very good poisons, but in very low dose. That's to tell you that every drug can harm, even paracetamol as it is. You take too much of that. Yeah. That means a drug something you are taking that can kill an organism that is causing infection in your body can also cause or harm the human being. Only the dose makes the difference here. So when you fail to regulate the dose and you're just gulping it down like water, you're calling for problem. Not only the ear can pack up essential organs like the kidney and other organs, the liver, you know.
Thank you, Doctor. We'll quickly take a break. When we come back, there's a whole lot to still be discovered that we are doing wrong. And between me and Halima, we've been going like, wow, ooh, wow, are this happening and all that. But let's just take a break. When we come back, the show continues. And by the way, you can actually write in. I see some messages here. We'll get to take them when we return.
Of the coronavirus pandemic, information management is key.
I'm Cyril Stober.
Fatima Umar Buba.
Joseph Johnson.
Ian Ray John.
Muhammad Kudu Abubakar.
Jumbo Yusuf.
My name is Kirian Umaya.
Here in NTA, we're working very hard to make sure that everything we broadcast is accurate and up to date. Misinformation spreads very fast.
The social media has been a huge conveyor of misleading information from one individual to another, then to another set of groups. In a short while, it goes viral, and before you know it, it is all over the world.
There have been several misleading information on coronavirus COVID-19. Recently, the misconception of 5G as a cause of coronavirus is becoming widespread. Another is the belief that hot beverages and alcoholic drinks are internal cleanser for COVID-19, thereby leading to excessive consumption of these drinks.
The use of local concoctions as treatment for COVID-19 are yet to be scientifically proven. However, there has been several theories about the efficacies of these concoctions. We should stay safe and denounce all manner of fake news and misleading information on COVID-19.
For medical advice, go on the WHO website, Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC website, or stick with the advisories from the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 or other authentic official sources. NTA is one of them.
It's still conversation and a whole lot's going on. Even while the break was going on, discussions were still battling between Halima, myself, Prof, and you won't believe it, the cameraman too. But Halima, I'll let you go. A lot of questions here, but let's have your voice first.
Yeah, honestly, you know, there's so much that I'm learning. It's like going back to primary school all along, starting from afresh. So I was just wondering when he was talking about this noise pollution, in this Nigeria, where at home you have the generator almost, especially with the issue of electricity. Now you see a lot of people, like in my estate now, I think for the past 2 days we've been having eruptive power. So you see everybody owning his generator, and the noise can be something else. Sometimes in the office, we have issues like that, you know, where apart from just the generator, you understand that at times you see people come to make repairs or some renovations in the office with this very noisy equipment. And yet you're working and the equipment are still, I don't know, all of these things. I'm just wondering, Prof, with what you're saying about this sound, how it affects the ears in this present day Nigeria.
Anna has raised a very important point here. You know, if you go to most of our, what's it called again? Malls here, where you have congregation of shop, people selling different things. What you realize that almost everybody has his or her own standby generator, power generating set, which doesn't make any economic sense in the first place because you spend more. Realize that when you own this gen, it has the ability to power like 5 rooms at the same time. If you're using it for 1 room, it's the same amount of fuel that you're consuming. So you're underutilizing it. Beyond that, when these things are on simultaneously, they generate so much noise, so much decibel noise, environmental pollution with noise, you know, creating a lot of uncertainty and a lot of risk for people who are trading and doing their day-to-day businesses within such an environment. And also a threat to the customers that are also coming there to, you know, to buy. So the ideal thing to do in such a situation is, number one, let people like that come together buy one power generating set that is big enough that will be able to serve, such a mall.
Yeah.
Get a soundproof container, put it inside and lock it up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you lock it up. It will almost be silent when it is on.
How do you trap the noise?
The what?
The noise.
Yeah,
How
the
do you trap
soundproof.
Yeah, the soundproof, that's what it is meant for.
Oh, really?
So there's this, I don't want to advertise there's this popular generator, the name starts with M, that you see everywhere. You see it's inside one container. That's a soundproof.
Oh, okay.
So, but you can even construct one yourself for your own generating set. So if it is put in there and positioned a little bit further away from where this is happening, and the place is connected, you have sanctity within the environment. So the noise pollution that can affect the ear, some years back, Nigerian Medical Association FCT branch, when I was their chairman, we decided to assess the noise level in Abuja. I think we shared that in your news, in your Healthline program, Lizzie. So we did that and mapped the noise level across the different areas in Abuja. And the finding was really, really, disturbing. Because as serene as Abuja appears to be, well, the night noise level was okay and within acceptable norm as specified by World Health Organization. But the daytime noise level was far, far ahead of expectation. And we are so high that they can lead to some hearing problems. So if a place like Abuja has this problem, think of places congested like Lagos and Kano. So as much as possible, yes. And we then come out to put it out there that even with your phone, you can download an app that will help you to monitor the level of noise within your environment.
Okay.
Free app that is there.
Okay.
So we worked on them and were able to put some. There's one that is called Android Boy 1. So you download it. It looks like a clock. It has a gauge. You just put it there. It will tell you the noise level.
Okay.
So that
if it's not acceptable, like I can walk away.
Yeah, when the noise level is too much and it's not acceptable, you just walk away. And it's what everybody can do. It's very free. We have to be conscious of this because
a lot of questions are coming. So let's quickly see what we can do to take some of them. It says, Professor Ibekwe Titus, what can I use when my ear is irritating or scratching me? From Elder Madu Abuchi, no more here. So when you said we should not use...
Thank you very much, Elder. I will be very, very fast in answering your question. This is called tragus. This big ear we have here, everybody has this.
Okay.
It's called tragus.
Tragus.
Tragus, yes.
Okay.
Once you place your finger there, push it in and out, do that up to 10 to 15 times, Elder, the itching will drop to tolerable level. And within a short time, we'll fizzle out on its own. Yeah.
Then
you don't need to insert, what Liz is doing now. You don't need to insert anything to clean or to scratch.
You said we're in classroom.
Oh, yes.
So we're doing practicals.
That's it. That's the tragus here.
I push it 3 times?
Yeah.
The itching will go.
10 to 15 times. Just do
10
that
to 15
quickly.
times. Wow.
Press, in and out, in and out.
It's okay.
It goes.
My name is Uche. I'm calling from Niger State. What do I do when my ear is itching or irritating me? Okay, you just answered that question. So touch your tragus, you said. Okay, I'm learning. Good morning, crew. I'm Dorcas from Yola. What is the solution for the one with pus or cotton bud is not, since cotton bud is not advisable? If you have pus in your ear.
Yeah, if you have pus in the ear, that's, Halima has already said it earlier on. That means it's a wake-up call to go to the hospital immediately. One, your doctor will want to take a sample of that pus and send to the lab for culture and sensitivity to be able to identify the particular organism that is responsible. Then after that, the doctor will clean the ear in a safe way, draw out the pus, and now start treatment. It may be an eardrop, a suitable one. It may just be an oral drug that will take care of that. It's a sign of infection.
Okay.
And the infection varies. It could be bacterial, it could be fungal, it could be viral. So by me just looking at the pus, you may not be able to say which one is which until you see the expert.
All right. And Joy from Abuja is asking how she can manage or cope with or cure ringing in the ear. I don't know.
Yeah, ringing in the ear is otherwise called tinnitus. It could be a disease on its own, and it could be also a sign that something is wrong with the ear. And you may not be able to know which one is which. Even some very minor things like wax obstructing the ear can lead to the ringing in the ear, okay? Then this ototoxicity we talked about, taking some drugs that affected, the cochlea can also trigger off ringing in the ear. Sometimes at extreme, some growth in the ear, like tumor, can present like ringing. So, Joy, what's my advice? Go and see your ENT surgeon so that they know which one is which and advise you on what best to do.
There's no need guessing. Just go and see the doctor.
Find out.
All right, Salma Babajia says one emerging area of research is whether hearing loss and ringing in the ear can result from coronavirus infection, either as symptom or as a complication days or week later. It's good you're an ENT doctor and you also had suffered coronavirus.
Interestingly, we just published a paper yesterday that was released yesterday, by an international journal, which was still sharing among our colleagues. Is a research we conducted among COVID-19 positive patients who are here in Abuja and those that are in Ibadan. UCH Ibadan was also used. And at the end of the day, it was realized that a significant percentage of them have ear problems also. Apart from the one that is known, we know that loss of smell and taste are early signs or early warning signs of COVID-19. But that ear problem, including ringing and this not hearing well, COVID can also present that way. So it's emerging. She's very correct.
Okay, that's a good one. Somebody says, good morning, my people, my people. Wow, this must be a politician. Please, this program of ear is very important, but the discussion is seriously breaking. Would it be possible to repeat the earlier discussions? Then sometime you feel substance very uncomfortable in your ear. How do you bring it out since the cotton bud is not advisable? This is coming from Gideon in Aba. Okay, so Gideon, for the first part of your question, we have our repeats on Sundays and Saturdays, so you can always tune in to watch it again. And we also have it again on Monday on NTA International, 12:30. But the particles in the ear, I don't know if you have...
Yeah, the particles, I just advise, please don't insert anything. If you lie down on that part of the ear, just lie down on that part of the ear. The ear is tortuous and designed in such a way, anything there can still follow there gently and drop off. On its
So
own.
if I feel something on this ear, I lie on it.
Yeah.
That's when you say lie on it, my ear should be on the pillow.
Down, yes, very
Okay.
good.
You know why you're talking about this? It just reminded me of a boy still in Maiduguri. They were playing and I don't know, he took sand or a tiny stone like that and put it in the ear.
Inside the ear.
I don't know. They were trying to, but the more the mom was trying to pull it out, the more it went. So while you are talking, I'm trying to remember. I don't know what actually happened at the end of the day, but I think they had to go to the hospital because the thing went deep inside.
Very deep.
So I wasn't sure how they were able to resolve the issue, but they went to the hospital.
Yeah.
So I'm just imagining.
Foreign body in the ear is very common, especially among children.
Yeah.
And even adults that are deranged, those who are not mentally stable. They can insert anything in the ear, in the nose, or swallow anything. So these are the things that we see commonly. And if you don't handle it in an appropriate way, you can end up causing more injury. Remember, the eardrum is very fragile, just out there, very close. So people who have struggled removing it at home will end up perforating the eardrum before bringing the child to the hospital. So essentially, the best thing to do is whenever you realize that a child has inserted something in the ear, just tell the child, be calm. Don't even attempt removing. Carry the child to the doctor. While it's still there, it's easier to pick out by the expert. But you're trying to put something, you're pushing it deeper, as Halima said. And you can
I'm getting irritated already.
Cause other injuries, yes.
All right, good morning, ENT doctor. I usually use olive oil to clean my child's ear. Is it right? This is Otene Blessing from Port Harcourt in River State.
Yes, Otene, that information you got from somewhere. I'm very sure of that. So it's correct. But it's not in all cases that you need to use olive oil. If it is established that it is wax that is, obstructing the ear, you can put olive oil drop there. We call it wax softener or wax solvent. That olive oil or cerumal oil has the ability to dissolve the wax or to make it softer so that your doctor, it will be easier for the doctor to pull it out. And when pulling it out, you won't feel any pain. So it is okay, but I didn't say that it should be used routinely. Every time you feel anything in the ear, you go and pour oil there. That would be wrong. But if you are sure it's wax that you have, yes.
So that means it should still be done with doctor's advice.
Yeah, prescription.
Now, Doc, I know today is World
secondly,
Hearing Day.
Sorry.
Okay.
If accidentally an insect enters your ear, that's a very horrible experience.
Help.
An insect
Mosquito.
flies into the ear. Please, don't try struggling to kill it or to. What you do is just pour this olive oil that she talked about. Pour oil in there, that's all.
The olive oil.
Yes. Once you do this, the oil will suffocate that insect. It dies. Then you'll be comfortable. You walk up to your doctor who will bring it out.
My ear becomes burial ground for insects.
Oh yes, it can be.
Okay,
It
so
does happen.
it's scary. It's scary. So how do we benefit from your program today, and what's the program like?
Oh yes, the World Hearing Day is celebrated, as we're talking of it, every part of the world is celebrating this. And there's something you said at the beginning of the program. You said 3rd of March. It's significant. Look at 3 and another 3. Look at the shape. It looks like the shape of the ear.
3?
The ear looks like 3. So that's why the World Health Organization chose this day. Double 3.
So this ear is 3rd. This other ear is
the one
March.
yeah.
Okay.
3rd of March. So it's happening everywhere around the world as we're speaking. And the essence is one is enlightenment. To let people know those things they must not do to protect their ear, which we have spent a lot of time discussing. And also to let people know the different processes, how the ear ages over time, that when you get older, you may start having problems and issues. It is normal, but rehabilitation can help. And this issue of screening, okay? Screening starts from the time a child is born. Let that be known, that no child should leave the hospital without getting the ear screened. Because the ear is just like the window of development. From the ear, you may realize that, yes, if you leave this child, other cognitive function like speech will not come up. And even their mentality, their level of mentation is also goes down when these two are not connected or working, you know. So we do that, and regular check, going to the hospital every 6 months, which is their death thing. Worst case scenario, during your birthday, let it be your birthday gift.
All right.
Assess your ear, so that if there is any problem, we can rehabilitate. You can have a hearing aids and all those and get well. Then this protection of our environment, the noise and other things that Halima had talked about, and our habit.
All right, doctor, I'm not cutting you short really, but I know that all road leads to all the hospitals and all, especially in Gwagwalada where the event is taking place.
Free screening is going on there.
Free screening at the moment, so please partake of it. It's an opportunity. You're not going to pay a dime. The show is conversation, and I must say thank you to Halima for finding time to come, and thank God that you didn't need to put breast milk in your child's ear. Prof, thank you so much again for coming.
Thank you very much, Lizzie.
All right,
it's so nice to be
let's
here.
stay safe at all times. Coronavirus is real, and your life is actually in your hands, if you ask me, not just your health. Bye.